Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Zechariah chapter 4, and this is based off of a question. I believe it was a brother asked on the comment board. I don't remember his name, I don't remember the video it was. But they asked if we could do a breakdown of Zechariah 4. So I went over it yesterday, and I didn't write any precepts down, but Lord's will, some of those precepts will come back, as we reading through it. It's pretty much a straightforward breakdown, dealing with Zerubbabel, and we're going to get into it. We're going to read it, break it down, give you some insight on it. I'm not going to go into the deeper meaning of it. I'm just going to hit the surface of it, dealing with the two. I'll leave it at that for now. And Lord's will, it'll be edifying. Now, before I get started, I was just sent a video by the up-and-coming elder Karataza from Vegas, and there was this team player, I'll say it like that, team player N. She was saying to stay away from people that have not ducked the jab, that have not learned how to duck the jab. Said because those people that have not learned how to duck the jab are getting those that have ducked the jab punch drunk. And if you could understand what that means, then you understand what the whole situation is. And we've been saying that for a while, that these people that are not ducking the jab, eventually down the line, that punch drunkenness is going to come out of them, because they have some stuff inside of them that is making them punch drunk. So I leave it at that. So let's get into it. This is the book of Zechariah chapter 4 verse 1. And the angel that talked with me came again and waked me as a man that is wakened out of his sleep, and said unto me, What seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick of gold. Now this candlestick of gold is a representation of the truth, because what is that? Is that Proverbs 6:23? For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. And the truth is that light, is that candlestick, and it also is a representation of that gold. And the knowledge that's being taught out here, from the Hebrew Israelites, GMS, Great Millstone, and others that teach similar, this is that gold knowledge that's being taught. All right. This is Revelation 3:18. This is Yahushai speaking. He said, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire. And what is this gold tried in the fire? This knowledge, so that they can make the individuals that are teaching and that are immersed in it gold. Some will be silver, some will be precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, as it says in 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. All right, so I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, because these are the true riches. This is why Yahushua said, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust does not break through and corrupt, where thieves do not break through and steal. And pretty much that's the bottom line. So this knowledge is compared to gold. All right. It says, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. That's right, clothe with this truth, this knowledge. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve that thou mayest see. And the gold, the candlestick, the lamp, the white raiment, it's all symbolic for this truth, and to make the individual that's listening and that's um, putting into action what they hear is making them in comparison to gold. And that's why when they speak and they teach, they pour out that wisdom, which is in comparison to gold and silver and precious stones. All right, so going back to Zechariah chapter 4, verse 2, and said unto me, what seest thou? I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and its 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps which are upon the top thereof. And 7 is just a representation of completion. Just like you have the 7 churches of Asia Minor, there were more. You had other churches, but there were 7 primary ones, because 7 is completion. This is why you have the menorah. The menorah is one candlestick with 6 bowls coming off of it on each side, which makes 7 altogether. Sometimes you go to buy a menorah, and they'll have 9 candlesticks. It wasn't the menorah is not 9 candlesticks, it's 7. They try to do that because of the story of Hanukkah, which the story of Hanukkah never says that they had, a menorah with 8, branches or 9 branches on it. It's something that Amalek came up with. So 7 is a number that represents completion. Just like you have 7 days in a week, the Lord did his work 6 days, and the 7th day he blessed and sanctified it and made it a day of rest. Okay? So whenever you see the number 7, it usually represents completion. All right? Just like it says, 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. I have reserved 7,000 men that have not bowed the knee to Baal. It's not speaking about 7,000 or 7 per se. It's a representation of completion. It says, and the 2 olive trees by it. Now these 2 olive trees, which you read also about in the Revelation, the 11th chapter, represent Zerubbabel and Joshua. But it also represents the kingdom of Israel coming together, both the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, which is what we're going to pretty much deal with, because this is the house of David, or the tabernacles of David being brought back, and built it as in the days of old. And 2 olive trees by it, one by the right side of the bowl, the other upon the left side thereof. So I answered and spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, what are these, my Lord? Then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, knowest thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel. All right, listen good. It says, saying, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Because this chapter also what's the word I'm looking for? Speaks about reincarnation. And this is going to be fulfilled in this time that we're living in now. Like I said, you have actual 2 men, which back then they were known as Zerubbabel and Joshua, but it's also in a broader sense dealing with the whole nation of Israel, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, and the knowledge being the candlestick, being the gold that's being taught out here, being the oil that's being pushed out here, making the candlesticks or the lanterns, so to speak, of each teacher out there burn bright. Some candlesticks are burning brighter than others. Nevertheless, they're still burning. Some candlesticks, they spark for a little bit, then they go out, so on and so forth, which brings to mind the parable of the 10 virgins. 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. All right. It says, then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Because the Lord is the one that's going to deliver us. So you have individuals that have a fleet doctrine leaving America. You have individuals that go to the gun range and try to get pistols and, assault rifles and practice, shooting at targets or whatever the case is, thinking that is what's going to deliver them. And that is not the case. The Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai is going to be the one that delivers us. A precept came to mind, but I can't think of it right now. Lord's will to come back, but I'll get this other one in the meantime. Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Barakateh Bashem El Shai came back. Let me get it real quick before I forget it. So it says that when the enemy shall come in like a flood, meaning what? When these military or the FEMA troops or whatever capacity they come in to the neighborhoods to bring about martial law, Jacob's trouble, the Lord is going to raise up a standard. He's going to cause something to happen where it's going to cause them to be at bay. Whether it be a spiritual intervention of angels or chariots or just a force field that the Lord will put there to keep the enemy at bay. Whatever it may be, when the time comes, we'll know specifically what it's going to be. All right. So now the other scripture was Hosea chapter 1 and now verse 7. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by the Lord their power, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horse, nor by horsemen. So the Lord is going to be the one that's going to deliver us. That's why he said, Yahweh said that he will not meet thee as a man. He's not going to meet Esau, Babylon the Great, as a mortal man. He's coming in great glory. He's coming in an angelic super power, when he comes back. And he's coming back, he's as the scriptures say in Isaiah 63, I that am mighty to save. So Yahushua is coming to save the elect of the nation of Israel, and he's coming to destroy Esau and the other nations, and specifically their military and their governmental agencies that are throughout the four corners of the earth, dealing with the kings and the princes and their armies and all of that. That's why the Lord said that he's coming to gather these nations, that he may pour upon them his indignation, meaning the missiles are part of the Lord's indignation. That fire from the missiles, the lasers from the chariots, that's all a part of the Lord's indignation. And that's what he's gathering these troops for. So when the Lord Yahweh Shai comes back, there's a reason why he has the title King of Kings and Lord of Lords, because he's going to take down all of these different kings, princes, noblemen, top tier families around the earth that are in lofty positions, and he's going to receive the what's the word I'm looking for? He's going to receive the credit for taking these nations down. It's not that he's going to have a whole bunch of crowns on his head, but it's going to be given to him, or accredited to him. All right. So going back to Zechariah chapter 4 and 6, then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai of hosts, which is the Lord of the armies. And this is why, we understand that what we're doing is highly inspired by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It has nothing to do with us individually. You know, it has everything to do with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and that constant inspiration, that constant guidance, that constant supping, you know? And this is what's happening right now. Because in order for the Lord to come deliver us, he first has to raise us up out of the condition that we find ourselves in today. And how is that being done? We're being elevated spiritually by the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and his truth. See? This is Isaiah 52:1, because at one time we were asleep. It says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. We're living in the days where the dry bones are awakening. You know, a lot have awoken. There's still some that are still sleeping. There's some that still haven't put on the flesh yet because the breath hasn't entered into them. But it's slowly but surely happening. This word is gaining momentum. People know about it. The media knows about it. Hollywood knows about it. You know, the entertainment world knows about it. You know, generals, police officers, the military, the National Guard. The world is seeing the great growth that's happening with this knowledge. And see, the thing with Esau is when they see something as a threat, they want to attack it carnally. Because they think everybody's like them. They think that every group that's out there is a carnal group because they are carnal men and they can't receive the things of the Spirit. So they're looking for any little loophole to try to destroy this. But if this work be of men, it'll come to naught. But if it be of the Most High, you cannot overthrow it. Least happily, you'll be found to fight even against the Most High. And you can't fight against the Most High. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai got his word out here. It's moving. There's nothing that you could do. All right, this is Isaiah 52:1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength. Why? Because we were in a deep sleep. And when the Lord shined his light on us, then we started to awake. And that's where you see a mass awakening going on worldwide. It's not just something in America or in a couple of cities or in Harlem like it was at one time. Back in the 60s and 70s, it was just in Harlem, handful of men. Look at what that grain of mustard seed has grown to be worldwide. And this is why the Hebrew Israelites from one west, you know, are the biggest threat to Esau, because this is the truth growing and the Lord showing them that, look, my people are waking up. And spiritually, the Lord is saying to them, let my people go. But they ain't trying to hear the Lord. So it says, awake, awake, put on thy strength. But what is our strength? This knowledge. This word that is powerful. You know, the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. You know, this suit of clothing, this spiritual suit of clothing that people call the Bible, which the majority of people around the world have in their homes. This is a whole, this right here, this book right here is a whole armor that we need. That's why it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the strength of, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. You know, but you have to know how to put things on. You're not going to take a helmet and put it on for a boot or your shoe. You're not going to take a breastplate and wrap it around your legs. You know, take the shield and you're putting the shield on your ankle. No. There's different places for the different things. You have the sword, you have the helmet, you have the breastplate, you have the shield, you have the armor, you know, and it all goes in its proper places. All right. So it says, O Zion, because only the Israelites, this is only for the Israelites, man. You got that vocab? It says, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem. The beautiful garments represents this knowledge. Not talking about those fancy, you know, garments that you put on with the fringes and all. It's talking about this truth. Revelation 16:15 speaks about putting on your garments lest they see you naked. It says, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. And we notice it's not talking about an actual city, it's talking about the people. Because the cities don't wear clothing. It's the people that wear the clothing. But it's not talking about actual clothing. It's talking about the clothing of the Spirit, which is this knowledge. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. So the Lord is going to remove the filthy, dirty paws of Esau and the other nations from off of us, man. It says, shake thyself from the dust, meaning from that confusion. Arise, meaning wake out of that slumber state. You know, when you first wake up, you like a little groggy, and you know your balance is off. You know, you can't really see that well. You have to get acclimated, you know, to the light, and to getting up and get all your bearings together. Well, that's what's happening now. It says, and sit down, meaning now you got to get up off that ground, because we're kings, we're royalty. We're not peasants. We've been reduced to peasantry, but we're not peasants. We're royalty. We're kings and princes in exile. You know, royal people in exile. So now it's time to reclaim our heritage, reclaim, our position, in this world. But we're not going to get a fair shake with Esau and them, and we don't want that, because the scriptures say we're not going to be reckoned among the nations. So the Lord is going to set us up. So he's establishing us spiritually right now. It says, shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down, O Jerusalem, loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter Zion. Yeah, and the bands of our neck is what? This society. The ways, the governments, the adhesion contracts, and all of that. The religious side of it, the political side of it. The Lord is telling us to remove our necks from all of that. So going back to Zechariah chapter 5 verse 7, it says, who art thou, O great mountain? This great mountain is a representation of America. That great city. A mountain represents governments, and it can also represent a city, because a city is only as good as its government. If you have a city with no government, you have a city that's going to be in total chaos. Let's go to Revelation chapter 17 and verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So this great mountain, or this great city, is America. Let's see, we have some precepts here. I'm just trying to see what okay, so now let's go back. I want to see if there's any there's a precept here. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. Okay, let's see, Jeremiah 51:25. Let's see what that says. Jeremiah 51:25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, which goes back to Babylon the Great, saith the Lord, which destroys all the earth. And what nation of people have destroyed the whole earth? The Edomites, beginning with here in so-called America. Because what is it, last 200 years or so, or maybe a little more than that, when they had the Industrial Revolution, they pretty much single-handedly, and by the period of 200 years, maybe a little more than 200 years, pretty much destroy. Look at the state of the earth since this devil's been in power. No other nation on the planet ever took control of the planet and destroyed the planet like these devils have done. So it says, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. You talking about God bless America? No, God damn America. Because this place is going out. It was established from the very beginning to be destroyed. Because the Lord said that once this place was to come into power, they're going into perdition, which the word perdition means destruction, or to be lost. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyeth all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. So America, this governmental agency of America that's reigning over all the people of the earth, as we read in Revelation 17, is going to be a burnt mountain. So when you, next time you go out and you look around, you know, those of you that travel and you see all of the different fields, the highways and the streets and the roads and the houses and buildings and all that's going to be destroyed. All that's going to be fodder for the fire, you know, of the nuclear missiles and the lasers from the chariots. All right, so going back to Zechariah 4 and 7, who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain. What is a plain? It's not talking about plain as it's something that's plain. You know, you get plain yogurt. It's talking about a low land. It's going to be, there's not going to be anything. It's just going to be flat land, but it's going to be burnt flat land for a long period of time. Then once the smoke clears, then it'll be flat, but you'll have desert creatures, you know, roaming around. Desert birds and unclean birds and reptiles and things of that nature roaming all through America. And that is the future of this place, Babylon the Great. So it says, and he shall bring forth the headstone thereof. Now, who is the headstone thereof? Yahushai. So what's happening now is that this truth that was set up through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, beginning with Elder Abba Bivens and the men that came under him, you know, and so on and so forth, are heralding in Yahushai, because as the tabernacles of David are being built up, as it speaks about in Amos, the ushering in of our Lord Yahushai is being proclaimed, because a part of the gospel is what? That the Lord is coming back soon. And he's coming to deliver us out of this captivity. So the man Zerubbabel, which was back then, you know, with Joshua the high priest, you know, which came back in this time, for those of you that can receive it, that's King Masha. And Joshua the high priest would be high priest Ariah, for those of you that can receive it. If you can't receive it, then I don't know what to tell you, you know. And in a broader scale, it is also dealing with the nation of Israel that was separated into two. You had the southern kingdom and you had the northern kingdom. All right. It says, so he's going to bring forth the headstone thereof. So before we go on, there's a precept here. I believe that's Psalms, the 118th chapter. But let me see what this says here. Yep, beautiful. Let's see, Psalms 118 and 22. Let's get that real quick. I have to steal a little phrase from Elder Pastor. May go up a few verses on that. I'll start at 19. Psalms 118 and 19. I'll start at Psalms 118, 18. The Lord hath chastened me sore, but he hath not given me over unto death. Open me the gates of the righteous, open me the gates of righteousness. I will go into them, and I will praise the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This gate of the Lord, into which the righteous shall enter. I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me, and art become my salvation. The stone, which is the point, the stone which the builders refused is become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes, because you actually had eyewitnesses of Yahushai 2,000 years ago that actually seen him walk the earth. You know, the apostles back then were some of those eyewitnesses. So this truth is ushering in the headstone, the chief headstone, which is Yahushai, right? And let's read that again. Zechariah 4 and 7. Who art thou, O great mountain, America, Babylon the Great, before Zerubbabel? And the name Zerubbabel means destroyer of Babylon, which is heavy, you know, that the Lord gave him that name. You know, even though in this time he wasn't called that, but the idea is still there. Zerubbabel means destroyer of Babylon. How about that? Before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain. Right, because we are actually speaking by the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the demise of this place. Like I said, it started, with Elder Abba Bivens on down to the men. The doctrine, the teachings, these words that are being spoken, coming from the scriptures, that's what's bringing this place down. It says, before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain, and he shall bring forth the headstone thereof. Yeah, because through the Spirit, we're speaking Yahushai's coming into existence by going through the different precepts, right? It says, with shoutings. And when you look up that word shoutings, it goes into clamor. When you go out and you speak, it's clamorous. In other words, it's very loud, boisterous. Like especially back in the days, those of you that had the honor to actually physically see High Priest Ariel out there speaking, which he's not. He would be Joshua the High Priest, and also King Masha out there speaking. You heard the shouting, the rousing up, the Lord bringing by his words the coming together of the bones, bone to his bone. So Yahushua is being ushered in by the shoutings of going out here in the streets and teaching. Does not it say in Proverbs, the first chapter, that wisdom, matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I can't think of the exact quote. Proverbs 1 and I believe that's 20. Proverbs 1 and 20. Wisdom crieth out, she uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying. So that's the shouting that's happening out here. With this truth. Every time brothers go out into the streets, more and more words are being spoken. Yahushua is being spoken, so to speak, into existence. Because before any great king would show himself to the people, there would be a great issuing in. There would be music that would be played. So music would be played. You would have the trumpets. You would have the red carpet. The announcement, and it would be like a real big deal. Big deal, inside joke, but. It would be like a big ceremony. So the going out there teaching of the wise virgins, this is the ushering in the ceremony, the shouting that's ushering in Yahushua coming back. All right. So going on, it says, with shoutings, crying, grace, grace unto it. Yeah, because Yahushua is the one that gave us grace. And this is what we're banking on, the faith, the grace, that the Lord is going to come back and deliver us if we remain faithful servants. Right? It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation. Why? Because Zerubbabel, if you can receive it, who was the head, the governor of Israel at that time, the spirit that was in him is also the same spirit that's in King David, and the same spirit that's in Peter, and the same spirit that was in King Masha before he went into the spirit world, which he's in the spirit world right now. So it says, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house. His hands shall also finish it. So he came, he did what he had to do. He's in the spirit world right now, waiting for the Lord to raise him back up. And he's going to come back as a young man, same as High Priest Yaquab, same as Elder Abba Bivens, same as all of the men that died in the truth. All right. And thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts has sent me unto you. All right. It says, for who have despised the day of small things? For they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel. Why? Because the Lord laid the foundation back then. You had King David, which is a major key figure. His house or tabernacle is being built. And whenever you build something, you have to have what? You have to have a plummet. You know, you have to have a plumb line. You have to have your square, your speed squares, your squares, your levels. You know, your saws, your hammer, your nails. You have to have all of that because you have to measure the area where you're gonna, build at. And you have to have a foundation to build upon. So that's what's happening right now. When you see these different brothers out here in the streets teaching his word, that's the building, that's the measuring, that's the work going on. The building blocks coming together, block to his block. The real mortar, not that untempered mortar, the real mortar holding all of the stones and all of the bricks together, which is this truth. It says, with those seven. Now the seven is a representation of men, a complete amount of men that were given to Zerubbabel, which are also given to in this time, and it's also a representation of the angels watching over, this whole ordeal and watching over the men that are heirs of salvation. It says, with those seven, they are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro through the whole earth. Salaki, that's actually just the angels. It could be the seven archangels. It didn't specify. It could just be seven angels, or it could be a complete amount of angels that the Lord put together, to keep, this way. As we read Revelation, the 7th chapter, where it speaks about the angels, not destroying the earth until the Lord sealed the servants. Now, there's a precept in Chronicles. Let me see if it comes up here. This is verse 10. That looks like an O. Yep, 2nd Chronicles 16 and 9. Let's get there real quick. 2nd Chronicles 16 and 9. That's 1st Chronicles. 2nd Chronicles 16 and 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro through the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect towards him. Yeah, so that's why the scriptures say that the angels of the Lord encamp around them that fear him, to deliver them. Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. Yeah, because I forget what king this was. Asa, so the Lord has the angels watching over the elect, the ones that are heirs to the kingdom of heaven, as it states in Hebrews, the 1st chapter. You can read Hebrews, the 1st chapter, and get a little broader understanding of that. All right, so going back, let's read it again. Zechariah 4 and 10. For who hath despised the day of small things? For they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel. Yeah, because the Lord set him up again in this time, but he wasn't called Zerubbabel in this time. But this is also, like I said, dealing with the nation of Israel, the two kingdoms coming back together, laying the foundation of this work that's being done out here, ushering in the chief cornerstone, the headstone, which is Yahushai. It says, with those seven, which are they are the eyes of the Lord, which run to and fro through the whole earth. It says, verse 11, then answered I and said unto him, what are these two olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick, and upon the left side thereof? And I answered again and said unto him, what be these two olive branches, which through the two golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? Which is what? The righteous wise virgins pouring out the oil, which is this truth, to the world. And only the elect are going to receive it and trim their lamps when that time comes. Let's go real quick to Proverbs. I believe that's 21. Is it 21 and 16? No, that's not the one. 21 and 20. It says, there is treasure to be desired, and oil in the dwelling of the wise virgins. But a foolish man spendeth it up, meaning the foolish virgins. You know, dealing with the parable of the foolish virgin, of the virgins. 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. All right, going back to Zechariah 4 and 12, and I answered again and said unto him, what be these 2 olive branches which through the golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? You know, which like I said, on a broader scale, that's dealing with the 2 kingdoms coming together, pushing this knowledge out. You know, the golden oil that you see out here, that's causing the lamps to be lit, the lamps of the righteous to be lit. Matter of fact, beautiful. I'm going right to it, Barak. How about Shemel Shai? Zephaniah 1 and 12. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles. And that's what's happening right now. Jerusalem is being searched with candles. What is the candles? This truth, this knowledge. We just read it earlier in Proverbs 6:23. That the Lord is the lamp. And this is what's doing the sifting. This is what's gathering the elect, this word. And punish the men that are settled on their leads, meaning the ones that are supposed to be leaders, that are supposed to be watching and guarding over the flock, and are sitting on their duff, you know, and not tending to the sheep. It says that say in their heart, the Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil. And the Lord is going to destroy those foolish, idle shepherds. So going back to Zechariah 4 and 13 now, and he answered me and said, knowest thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Last verse. Then said he, these are the 2 anointed ones that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. Now, like I said, this is 2 actual men, but we're dealing in a broader sense with the nation of Israel, which was broken into 2, and now it's coming back together, being mended, like the breaches are being mended. And that's the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom teaching his word, taking the golden candlestick and the oil and pushing it out throughout the 4 corners of the earth. And only the elect are understanding and receiving this knowledge, because they are the only ones that have the mark of the Most High in them. And those elect spirits are the only ones that can be filled with this golden oil. See? To understand, to teach, and to teach others, so that the Lord can seal his elect. You know? So pretty much, you know, it was 14 verses. Zechariah 14 verses. I mean, you could go, you know, a lot deeper into it, but that's, you know, pretty much like a overall basic breakdown of Zechariah, the 4th chapter. And I pray that it was edifying, and I pray that I believe it was the brother that asked the question. I pray that it was edifying to him, you know. And with that, you know, Lord's will, your brothers will edify to the next time I say Shalom.